Check, check, check. Okay, we are going live. What's going on? Yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Async KPI. How to contribute, or let's talk about contributing live stream. So in today's live stream is dedicated to the Oktoberfest folks. So it's going to be fun, and yeah, so I have with me an important person, an important guest. But firstly, before I go into that, I would love to make a quick announcement. The AsyncAPI conference is fast approaching, and yeah, we have a lot of registrations. So if you haven't registered yet, I I really you just have to register. So I'm gonna share the link to the conference website. If you haven't registered yet, please go ahead and register ASAP. So the conference is happening next week, Thursday. So it's gonna be 3 days, and we are all going to it's all going to be on coverage. So we're gonna cover everything live. So we are also still looking for volunteer. So if you want to volunteer for the conference, and helping us organizing it, and giving a very very stunning conference, please feel free to reach out on the Slack channel. You can reach out to Wukash. You can reach out to me myself. So we're looking forward to your help, and yeah, we're looking forward to seeing you guys at the AsyncAPI conference 2022. I can't wait. Woo! Super excited. So back to it. To this live stream. So basically, we are going to talk about um Glee. So Glee is actually a spec-first framework, owned by the AsyncAPI initiative. So I'm not gonna go into in depth what Glee is, and I think that's why we have Sovish on the call. Oh shit! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! So I'm not supposed to name my guest before before that. Yeah. So today I have Sovik. Sovik is an amazing person, a long time contributor for AsyncAPI. Yeah, I've known him well enough. We've done couple of things together, from Google Summer of Code to the AsyncAPI hackathon, which Sovik was actually the winner of the hackathon. So I'm not jealous because I was the runner up for the hackathon. So help me welcome Sovik to this live stream. Bringing you up, Sovik.
Hi.
Yeah, you live. How you doing, Sovik?
Hi. I'm fine. I'm fine.
Oh man, I'm really glad you were able to jump on this call, because I knew you're like, oh no, I'm nervous. I can do this. I can do it. I can do it. Yeah. I'm glad you find your motivation.
Yeah. So what I thought was, I just gonna say yes and forget about it, and when the day comes, I'll handle it then. So yeah, that works.
Yes. I know, right? Yeah. So would you like to introduce yourself, Sovik?
Yeah, sure. So I am Shovik, and I'm from India, and I maintain a couple of projects in AsyncAPI, and I'm working right now on Glee. And if you want to check out some of my other projects, you could see Bundler and also CLI that I maintain. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, cool. So how did you started doing open source? Because I see you're an open source freak. I want to share a journey.
Yeah, sure. So I guess it was my first semester. Yeah, in my first semester. This was after Hacktoberfest ended. I got to know about Hacktoberfest. I was like, oh, okay, that's good.
Oh.
You kind of do something and you get you make PRs and you get shirt. But the thing is, I didn't know what was PRs at that time, and GitHub was very daunting to me. I was like, man, what is this? And what is Git? And I used to see, I okay, I googled it, and people are writing commands in terminal and things are happening. So man, what is this? Is this magic or something? So it's like, okay,
It's definitely
let's do it.
magic.
It's like, okay. So first semester, Hacktoberfest gone. Next semester, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get a T-shirt. I'll try to do something and get a T-shirt. But I didn't know Git or anything about GitHub. So like, first I created a GitHub account, and then I went down on GitHub, trying to figure out how to merge, how to open PRs, and how to what are issues and what are like how to open PR, how to uh, make branches and all. And I did a couple of mistakes when I was not couple, a lot of mistakes when I was starting out. So I then like next year, due on Hacktoberfest, after grinding the whole month, because most of the time I was
Hmm.
putting up PRs and no one was reviewing it, or no one was actually checking it, or even if like it was kind of slow. I was getting some people are just I think like this is not what we needed and you don't need it, and so
Hmm.
it was going. They're not merging it. And I'm like, okay. So I thought okay, four was easy, but now four was not easy. And then so after grinding over a month, finally I did it. I got a T-shirt and I was like, okay, this is cool and it's fun as well. And after I wore the T-shirt and went to college, and like people are like, hey man, what is that? I'm like, yeah, I won it. How about that? So and after that, that's how I started open source. But at that time I didn't knew all I knew was writing doing simple maths in computer. So it's like right, find a prime number, right, and do stuff like
Hmm.
that, and doing call
Yeah, let's code
assemblies.
stuff.
Yeah, lead code stuff. I didn't know anything about programming. So I kind of did a course on there was a class called Android development. So Android was the first thing I learned how to code.
Okay.
And like I grinded the whole summer on Android, and like I could understand. Then I learned about okay, what are classes, right? How do you write like how do you write a code and make that come to life on a phone? That was really fun to me, more than lead code stuff. Okay, so and then I got hooked. Then there was a holiday, I came back home. Then I learned about web technologies like website, how to get HTML, how to create HTML, how to do that, how to
Hmm.
create like APIs and then connect to websites and all. Like there's like tinkering stuff, but still basic. Then COVID happened, and COVID means you have a lot of free time in your hand. And I was like, okay, I have free time, so I I just sat with my laptop and tried to do stuff. And then at that time, uh, Google Summer of Code came by. So I tried for first time Google Summer of Code. I wasn't able to understand a single code. It's like the projects. I used to go into projects and like okay, like thousands of lines of code and I don't get anything. I'm like okay. Firstly, I used to feel demotivated because like, I said, okay, maybe this is not the thing for me. But then after a year went by, second Hacktoberfest, second Google Summer of Code, and I was like, okay, I can read code now. I can make sense. I read something and I can make sense in my brain. I'm like, okay, so that's like I don't care if I get selected or not. I can read code. That's a win for me. That's a
That's
win for me.
definitely that's a win.
That's a win for me. So I tried. Then I figured out. Then I came across AsyncAPI on Google Summer of Code. Right? I was like, okay, and I was like looking into code and everything. I was like, yeah, I can read it and I can make something with it. And then I did apply for Google Summer of Code, but I didn't get selected. But Lucas was
Hmm.
very nice and gave me an opportunity to work on CLI, and that's like the first thing major open source contribution I started, because before that I was just fixing small bugs and small things, again making
Hmm.
a patient or something. And now I'm like, okay, I can make something. I write code and that's getting merged, and that's cool. And after that, after the period, Lucas told me to be a code owner for CLI, and I was like, I was so happy. Like, man, I maintain a open source project. Like that's so cool, right? So that's how I like. From there on, I started contributing to Async API more and more, because like it was just a welcoming place. And like I did mess up a lot of times here in Async API, and like Fran and Lucas, they were like nice to me. I was like, okay, cool. They didn't scolded me or something. So that was nice.
That was like that's an amazing like an amazing
Yeah,
journey, to be honest. Like
yeah,
so you went from not being able to make sense of a whole code base. You're like,
yeah,
what am I saying, like what's going on, to being able to even develop your own project in the
yeah,
open with the open source community. And yeah, you built I think you built AsyncAPI bundler.
yeah, yeah. I created
Yeah,
a
so
AsyncAPI
that was an
bundler.
amazing project.
Thanks. So,
So what actually like inspired you to build
uh,
such project? And I say people using it already.
so thing is, uh, it was during that hackathon, AsyncAPI hackathon, right? So people are posting
Mm-hmm.
ideas on like what they want to see, and Magic posted idea is like, okay, we it would be awesome to bundle all the specs together, right? Like there are like we have couple of different specs and connected together. It would be very awesome to have that. So I think okay, that like, but what he was saying that. Uh, right now we added that feature, but it was like suppose you have one specification, right? And
Mm-hmm.
some part of the specification is on a different file, right? So you say you are importing a components uh, from a different file, right? But you want to have all the components in a single file, so you can use bundler to fetch those
Mm-hmm.
required components and put in your original AsyncAPI file and have it in one place. So that is what Magic was wanting to have, like. But so I started with that idea, and there was then Lucas showed me a use case which was like you have completely separate async API files, okay, multiple separate async API files, like they're they're a complete async API file on itself, right? And you want to merge them into one single file.
Mm-hmm.
So that there's like two subtle but different use cases for bundler.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, how could we merge it? So first you're thinking maybe we create two different libraries or two different functionalities with this. And then I kind of figured out no, we can just combine both of them and do it like that. Like you take one single file, resolve all the external references, and then combine other specs to create one master spec that has everything. Right. So that's what I wrote bundler for.
Just that's I don't know. I was lost of words when I said implement. When I saw the implementation, I was like, wow, this is so thoughtful of you. And yeah, so I'm like I'm pretty sure the open source community and the event driven architectures community and also the Sync API community like really appreciate the project of yours. That was fantastic.
Thanks.
Um,
Thanks.
yeah, so hey, folks, we've had enough about Solvage, right? So
Yeah.
we need to move ahead. Firstly, so I know you are now, a full time maintainer as Glee, right? So I almost gave the whole explanation of Glee the other time. Thanks for keeping myself in check, right? The way I spoiled the person I want to invite on stage. So now, would you love to like tell us what Glee is about?
Yeah. So, Glee is a framework that basically helps you write that builds helps you build APIs and like think you want to create a WebSocket API, right? So what do you do?
Mm-hmm.
You you create a server, and then you'll define channels, right? You define
Mm-hmm.
the messages that you want the channels to receive or
Yeah.
send, right? And that's the long process that you have to write as if you're using AsyncAPI, you write AsyncAPI file, you have to write your code, then you generate documentation, right? And one thing changes, you have to change all of the three things and you have to keep it that way because your code changes, now you have to change your AsyncAPI file and then you have to update your documentation, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you have to do a lot of work around it. What Glee does is
Yeah,
basically you
especially when you have like a big number of team members,
yeah,
or yeah,
yeah.
so it's an headache.
Yeah. So what Glee does is basically combines all of that together, and you just define your spec. That is a source of truth. Uh, yeah, source of truth. And with that spec, you basically build up the whole thing. So you just write your business logic and your spec and documentation, right? Your protocol, like authentication, everything's handled through Glee. Glee handles everything out of the box. So you just write
So
spec.
now you're saying all you just have to do is write out your async API documentation. your AsyncAPI
spec.
document, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Your AsyncAPI spec, right? So you have everything there, and how do we like get Glee to like
Uh,
work with this
then
spec of yours?
then yeah, then you create functions, your business logic, right? Like you create a function, and that you like if you read on Glee, you'll understand. There's like uh,
Hmm.
things where you can write your function name. This function should be called when this channel is being called by other client. And Glee basically connects the function business logic to your uh, async API file, and also creates
Okay.
documentation with it for that. And so now all you have to do is update the async API file, right? And like if it's a very big breaking change, you have to update the function, and it will work seamlessly. You don't have to update your documentation or anything, because documentation is created from your Glee. Uh, document is created from async API spec, which stays updated because you update your spec. And
Yeah.
not only
So
that, like
basically,
yeah.
okay, please continue.
So not only that, the functions could also be something you don't have access to. Like the functions
Hmm.
are on a different server, right? Glee basically maps a call to another server, another function, another. So your business logic is somewhere else, and your application still you can use that thing. It's like
Oh,
it's
that sounds interesting.
yeah, it's kind of complex, but we right now it doesn't do that, but it will do that. So,
Then I love the fact that you brought that up. That's amazing. You should be a marketer.
yeah,
That seems interesting. But I think I have a couple of questions about Glee, right?
sure.
So, we are engineers, and you say Glee is a spec first framework, which means the AsyncAPI file is the single source of truth, right? Um, Now my question is basically, so once I generate my code, using the Glee library, and you're saying I just have to focus. What Glee makes you focus on is just the business logic of whatever it is you're doing, right? But what happens if I'm like being curious, and maybe I made a change that isn't from that is a part, like not a business logic change, right? But now a change in the code base. What happens? Does
Uh,
Glee tells me I'm doing something wrong, or what?
uh, Basically, if so you define your messages, right? So
Mm-hmm.
in your spec, so if you like to update what kind of message you're gonna accept or what kind of message you're gonna send,
Mm-hmm.
you have to go through the spec first. So it's like there's no other way to update that other than spec. So
Oh.
in terms of energy, if you have ever worked with Next.js, right? Next.js, you see you have
Mm-hmm.
a pages folder, right? In the pages folder, you have
Mm-hmm.
routes, right? You could say those work like a route, and like you have a function name, and every file exports a function, right? And every function
Yeah.
is basically a page that you render. So that's what Glee does. So Glee has a folder
Hmm.
called functions. There you put all your business logic as per a file. Each file corresponds to a, like it could correspond to, it should correspond to one channel, and that logic is there, right? So how you define what message should come and go is in your spec, right? And what happens, what those functions contain is how you want to manipulate the logic, right? That's your business logic. Like suppose you get a function call, suppose you get a call at a channel, and now you want to create, maybe you want to create a Slack message, right? According to
Yeah.
that message. So that code goes in your function. That's how Glee works. So if just look
Okay.
at the
So
example,
basically,
yeah,
you're saying with Glee you have no business with any other part of the code apart from the
yeah,
one in the function folder.
yeah.
Wow, seems
That's
interesting.
that's the only place you write code, and other than anything else goes in your spec.
So now it's like I know from my point of view, right? Glee is an amazing project, but now I think the purpose of this live stream is just for me to like also tell people how fantastic Glee is, right? Yeah, and I know I think Glee isn't production ready, right?
It's not professionally yet, but
Yeah,
we're going there.
yeah. So since we are going there, and it seems like an amazing project, it's not even. It doesn't even seem like an amazing project. It is an amazing project, right? And
Yeah.
I think it will do a lot more interesting stuff in the nearest future. But now I have a couple of questions that I was thinking this would make sense. Why not bring it up during the call? Now I have another question, which is if I update my specification, right? Maybe I want to add maybe more channels or whatever it is I want to add to the spec. So how do I like get Glee to update the code, right?
Uh,
Like
so
you just
uh,
I have to like do something to make Glee notice like I did
yeah.
something in the specification.
Yeah. So when you create a new channel in your specification, there's something called correlation ID. There's a parameter in
Okay.
a channel. So in that parameter, you just specify the function file name, right? The file which contains the function you want to run, and Glee fetches that function and runs it when the channel is called. Like when it receives a connection to the channel, it calls that function automatically. So all you have to do is
Okay.
specify the function name in your spec, and like if you just, I would suggest people to go and I mean, like there are documentation about Glee. It's a very simple. You just can go and see how the spec is.
It works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? So it's an amazing project, has an amazing future, right? But still yet I still try to like wrap my head around Glee. So because also from other people's point of view, they say, what's Glee? How does it work? And yeah, I just keep getting all these couple of questions. Yeah, I try my best to like, explain how Glee works, what it does, how Glee is the future, right? so so yeah, a lot of people could like criticize me and say, "What? Shut the fuck up, man! Why would you say spec first?" And I'm like, "Come on, man, spec first." So because basically, why would you, when you have a large, maybe you have like a couple of team members doing something, and you guys have to like going back and forth changing things, why you could just have a single source of truth.
Yeah.
Then the only change you can make is just basically in your business logic. So you have nothing to do with whatever protocols you're using, whatever channels you're using.
Yeah.
Just focus on your business logic, right? But now let's talk about, let's say now I have Glee project. Maybe I'm using Glee in production, right? In my server somewhere. Now we want to update the want to add a new channel or want to do some update in the specification, right? My question still remains: how does Glee, like in product, like we know it is not production ready, right? But now just thinking, if I have Glee project like somewhere and I just push my code to GitHub, maybe I could use some CI/CD to like talk to my server and say, oh, Glee has a new, like the AsyncAPI file has been updated, right? So Glee has to do some magic to like basically check it and fetch and make some changes. I have no idea how that will work.
So it's like just think just think how, when you run uh, like what happens when you run a Node.js application, right? It starts running,
Hmm.
it takes the resources it needs, right? So it takes the
Hmm.
AsyncAPI file, and now if the file is updated, so it will get the updated, it will pick up the updated file, and now your updated file will have more channels, the new channels that you've added, right? And from there it will try to figure out, okay, this is a channel, like to Glee, it is not like it's updating. To Glee, it's like, okay, these are, there are four, there are like, there are 5 channels. You add a new channel, there's like 6 number of channels. To Glee, it's like, okay, now there are 6 channels, and I'll try to figure out where are the functions that I need to call for these 6 channels and create it.
Mm.
So it's like, it's not like,
Awesome.
it's not like it's
This is
static
this
and
is
you are
awesome.
updating.
So because are you saying because now I'm saying like Glee seems like now it just keeps blowing up my mind every single time I talk about Glee and how interesting the project is. Now, so even if you are using the serverless function,
Serverless
so
is something we haven't built yet, and that's what we are like.
okay.
We will try to build further. So it's like, think about like most HTTP serverless functions, right? You get a function, and it could be anywhere, right?
Hmm.
But basically, functions
Yeah.
are serverless functions right now. We make a HTTP call to that function. The function runs and spits something out and sends it through HTTP to our server. So a Glee
Yeah.
application would basically do something like this. Uh, it will have its own server, and when you call it, when you call that channel, and it figures out, okay, I need to call this function which is not here, it's on a different server. So it will call that server
Yeah.
and get the things it needs and then send you back. So it's like Glee
Wow.
is one server, it is connected to a couple other servers which is
Hmm.
communicating to provide you what you need.
Now it makes me feel like Glee just makes more lazy developers happier. Someone like me, I'm just gonna use Glee, and I don't
Yeah,
bother writing some WebSocket server or setting up Kafka or some stuff. And I'm
yeah,
like, Glee would do everything for me. I just have to like focus on the business logic.
yeah,
And you could present it to other team members, and they would be like, wow, this is amazing. But deep down you're like, oh no, this is amazing because it makes me do less work. Yeah,
yeah.
so that's is amazing. But now we've spoken so much about the capability of Glee and how it's or what it can do. So any plan for Glee support for clients? Because I know
Yeah,
basically
so
it's just server.
yeah, so I'm currently working on this PR. So what I'm trying to introduce is WebSocket clients. So till now, Glee was creating WebSocket servers on its end, right? So Glee is a server right now, and you call Glee, right? And
Yeah.
Glee acts as a server. So after this PR gets merged, Glee will also act as a client. So now Glee will communicate with other servers. Like you have another server which could be Glee or some server that you have written, right? It will communicate through WebSocket protocol, and Glee is a client. So now Glee is a client and server at the same time. So it's we are going towards that thing I told you earlier.
Yeah, it would make sense because if we have a glaze support for clients, then I feel it would actually solve this barrier of not being able to like use MQTT on the client. Then maybe you have to use some look for some library that has shit documentation, and you just can figure your way. You can just figure out your way out, how to like use this thing. Because I know, yeah, technically, MQTT wasn't meant for clients or something, but yeah, that doesn't mean we can experiment something or do something. And I think Glee would actually move us towards that future, and it seems amazing. So now I have so are you saying, does Glee support all kind of protocols
Yeah.
or what?
Currently, Glee supports WebSocket, MQTT, right, and Socket.io, which is like WebSocket only.
WebSocket.
And we are working on AMQP and Kafka. So people are working on that, and we plan on having all the protocols under Glee. So like you when you create a Glee application, you can like write code in multiple protocols and
Hmm.
not even know that you're writing multiple protocols. You're using multiple protocols. You just writing your own business logic, and magic is happening.
Oh, cool. So if Glee could support all kind of protocols, oh boy, I'm pretty sure Glee would eventually get acquired by a venture capitalist.
We
Oh,
won't let that happen.
yeah. So it's open source. So everyone in Glee is an open source project. Yeah, for the fact that it supports, it's planning on supporting all protocols. When you say all protocols, and I believe we're gonna have support for gRPC
Yeah,
sometimes in the future, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So the future seems exciting, but what would be of a future with our contributors in open source, right?
Uh,
So Glee is an open source project, and now we've spoken about how what kind of interesting things Glee could do and how Glee could like shape our or development time or speed up development time, right? So, but now we are talking about the future of Glee, how Glee is. But now we need to talk about how. No, if we're even talking about the future of Glee, so we need to talk about how people can help, make that feature a reality, right? Now, since Glee is actually an open source project, what is an open source project without its contributors, right? Now, how can we, as a contributor, how can I start contributing to Glee, or what are the things I need to understand in order to like start contributing to Glee? Is there a barrier to contribute to Glee, or what do I have to do?
Okay, so we do need a lot of contributors because since Glee will support all other protocols, so it's hard for a single person to know all protocols, right? Like in and out of
Mm-hmm.
each and every protocols, it's hard. So we need more contributors who know about other protocols and like they can share their expertise with us. So that is something we need. And other than that, as a new contributor, now I don't know if Glee is a new contributor friendly or not, but like there are a lot of complexities and there are some easy easy work that people can come and look into. The thing is, for me personally, starting with Glee, start getting started with Glee was a bit hard because uh, there's some complexities going on. You have to understand what protocol, like how protocols are, how you use WebSocket, how do you use
Mm-hmm.
MQTT, right, and also how Glee is working in itself. So one thing I can suggest people, like if you're seeing Glee and you're like, okay, that's a lot of code and I don't understand. So one thing I use to tackle this thing is fork it, right? Fork it or clone it. Like if you don't plan on contributing right now, you can just clone it and then play with it, right? Like, get it to run, get it to run. We have a examples folder. You can just go there and try the examples, right? Open Postman and send couple of messages through Glee and see how it's happening, right? Then go into the code base and try to change couple of things here and there and see, like, is it breaking now? Like, okay, you do something, the whole code is gone, right? Like nothing's working. Okay, so do that couple of things and like with that you can be better at, you can better understand how Glee is working and how modules in Glee are working together to make it happen. So that's one thing I can suggest people to do.
Yeah, that seems interesting because I also know yeah, I also know I think Glee doesn't have the no, should I say Glee doesn't have the best of documentations.
Yeah,
Um
the,
so I think if you're experienced or you love to like contribute in terms of contribution or in terms of documentation. So I feel your best bet is actually, to contribute to Glee because now
yeah,
it could help contribute to the future of Glee by enhancing its documentation, right? Provided
yeah,
one of the best documentation for Glee, and I also think um it also lacks examples, in my opinion, right? So if you feel you can create project examples from Glee, right? I think
yeah,
that also counts as a contribution. So
yeah,
you can actually create an example and actually submit it for a pull request, right? So then we can add it to the list of examples for Glee. And yeah, I think that is also amazing. And also you can, so all kind of contributions are welcome at AsyncAPI.
yeah,
So from writing code to writing documentation and even design. So we are we have a very big heart for contributions. So we welcome all kind of contributors. So Glee actually needs contributions. Yeah, so that's basically how you can contribute to the Glee project. And yeah, so I have one last question, right? It's about Glee, right? So
yeah,
I think the last time I actually like spoke with Fran, we were discussing about how Glee does this message validation because I had a use case whereby I was sending message through a broker, right? But then what I noticed is even though in my AsyncAPI file the message payload I specified was actually wrong from the one I was sending, right? So I was in the HTML generator. So in my console, I could see that I was getting a message that says, "Oh, the message you're sending is not the right format or not the right message." Because I think in my message definition, I was saying, "Oh, send a JSON," but I'm actually sending a string, right? Yes, but I get this notification or this alert that says, hey, yes, you're sending the wrong message. But even despite that fact, the message still get delivered.
yeah,
Now I'm saying I was like saying, oh, this doesn't make any sense, right? It seems like there is no validation going on. or even if there's a validation going on, it's not actually blocking the message, right? And I started thinking, wow, then definitely if I have my server up out there somewhere, and if anybody knows how to publish message to my server, or through a particular through a particular broker, anybody could publish any message and keep stressing the fuck out of my server, right? So which doesn't make sense. Then Fran was saying Glee actually solves this problem. Now I kept wondering how.
Okay. Okay, so I'm kind of not sure how this works, but what I know is Glee uses your spec, your message definition to
Hmm.
check if if the message is the same thing you have. So I think if it does not match the schema that you have provided, it shouldn't go to the function, right? The message does not go to the function because when I was trying to add authentication to it, like I was trying to uh, pass in authentication values to the spec and trying to check if like if that passes, only then my message, uh, only then my connection happens. So
Hmm.
in that sense, I had to see uh, does that go to your message or not, like go to your
Yeah,
function or not, like like I think it would be best if you open a PR and I can check it out, like if it goes to the message or not, like because it shouldn't, like if the
of course.
if it comes and if it's not validating, it will show you in the uh, what do you call it, like in a terminal you would see, okay, this is the message and it's wrong, but it will not be delivered to the function, right? So your business logic will not have access to the function, like it should not. Now if it's going there, like you have to say maybe there's some bug.
No, no, I think it's actually not going. I think, and
Yeah,
that is actually what makes sense to me. And I was like, wow, this is an amazing feature, right? Then your server is like safe, right? Scared of somebody like publishing the wrong message. You're like very very calm, unlike what you'd have to do if you're not using Glee and you're like writing your codes yourself. And this is another edge case where you have to care about, right? You need
yeah,
to have like write some additional code to like run
yeah,
some validations. And I'm like,
yeah.
Glee just like has this thing out of the box. I was
Box,
like,
yeah, it
wow.
checks with your spec. Yeah,
Like, this is amazing. And yes, I'm pretty sure like Glee has an amazing feature. So if you once again, if you're a contributor, Glee needs contributions. Like we need contributors. Like so, if you looking for a project to contribute to, pretty sure Glee is your best bet. And it's currently not in production. What would it make sense to actually, you know, contribute to something before it is even available for production? And once it's available for production, you could say, "Yay! I actually helped, build this project." And I think that's one of the fun of open source.
yeah. I'm also saying since it's not in production, so don't have to fear that it will break something, because
Exactly.
don't worry if something happens, we'll fix it.
You
And
can't break
right,
anything.
and right now it's the time for you to experiment with different things and like come up with ideas, because after you go to production it will be hard to modify because now people depend on you,
Yes.
but now you can.
Yes, definitely. So if you're like interested in contributing to Glee, I think I shared the link to the Glee repository. So please check it out, explore the project. So you can actually reach out to Sovich on Slack about if you have any question at all about Glee. Yeah, you can also reach out to me. I know how to like boss the maintainers. I'm really good at that. So just reach out to me and I will look for a way to like help you get started in contributing to Glee, because why not? You just have to,
Yeah,
just do it. And yeah, so I think that's pretty much every other questions I have here on my agenda about Glee and how to start contributing to Glee. Yeah, and I think I will be doing a live stream probably next week. I haven't known yet. So it would be about how to contribute to Glee by creating an example project, right? So I'm gonna be creating an example project on doing the live stream using the Glee, right? So that would be one of my that would be another my contributions to Glee, right? I'm supporting the motion.
Yeah.
So
I'll
if
be available. So
okay,
let me know if you need any help.
yeah, sure, of course. So if you are interested in also like if you have any project examples in your mind that you feel would fit a Glue use case, they definitely work on it and open a pull request or submit it. We'll definitely review it and SAK is about community, right? So
Yeah.
we would really love to like help get a pull request made. And yes, even that's I think that's everything on my end. So before we call it a day, I'm gonna inform you guys again. We the Escape by conference is going to be happening next week. So 3 days conference which kicks off on Thursday. Um, so that would be a week from now. So
1 week left.
for a week. Yes, so a week from now we're gonna be having the AsyncAPI conference. So you guys need to like come if you want to learn everything or anything about APIs and also communities on how event-driven architectures. Like we have some really amazing speakers, for this year's conference and some really interesting topics that I feel you would eventually love. So I posted the link to the conference. So go out there and secure yourself a spot. Looking forward to seeing you guys in the conference. And also again, we are actually looking for volunteers. So if volunteering is your thing, right? Um, feel free to reach out to us on Slack. We need volunteers. So I'm gonna share the link to the Slack channel. Um, few seconds. Sharing. Yeah, so here's a link to the Slack channel. As to us, we need volunteers for the conference. Um, I think that also stands as a contribution to the open source community. So if you want to like that's what I told you earlier, it's gonna be hires all kind of contributors. So you could contribute by volunteering to the AsyncAPI conference. We really need your help. Yeah, looking forward to seeing you guys. I think that's everything for today's live stream dedicated to Oktoberfest. But yeah, Oktoberfest is rounding up in a couple of days, right? But we are not stopping this live stream, right? Dedicated to like keep hosting this live stream as much as possible, right? Where I will be doing a lot of demos, inviting maintainers and also contributors to the live stream to like talk about open source and AsyncAPI in general. Yeah, so looking forward to like more of this live stream, guys. Yeah, so thanks, Sovik, for honoring this call. Um, looking
I,
forward to some amazing stuff you have in your calendar somewhere or in your Notion about. Yeah, sure. So thanks for joining this call. I really appreciate that. Have a lovely day, Sovik.
Yep.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Yeah, thanks for. So that's Sovik. Who is a maintainer and a lifelong contributor of Async API. And yeah, so it currently maintains part of the maintainers or it maintains Glee at the moment. So if you're interested in contributing to Glee, so I said it before, reach out to us, Sovik or I on the Slack channel. And yeah, if your all kind of contributions are welcome. So that's basically everything on today's live stream, guys. So looking forward to seeing you guys on the next live stream. Yeah, it's me. It is your host for today's live stream. Yeah, bye guys. Have a lovely evening, morning, and afternoon. Bye. Till next time.